Good evening, Dr. Jyoti.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
We have Mr. Johnny Rungmeng. It's already joined from the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority, and Mr. Vibhuti is joining just now. He join as soon as possible.
Father Sabu, Vice Principal of Loyola, is also here.
Oh, okay, very good. Welcome. This is the fourth series. Now, this is also being done now with Loyola College and also with Ayyappa College for Women in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
Auxilium College in Vellore.
Okay.
And
yeah, I saw the write-up. Yes, correct. Yeah.
And the Department of Applied Geology, University of Madras.
Okay.
Sri Vibhuti sir has joined.
Yes. I think, Suresh, we can start because we have a capacity constraint of 100 people who can join on Zoom, and the others will have to take the live streaming on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah.
So we have Dr. Vishal Lakshmi joined from Central University, Thiruvananthapuram.
Yes, sir, we will start. I think chairmen are joined with certain technical difficulties. He could not now.
Yes. Can we also start the live streaming on Facebook?
Yes.
And YouTube? Thank you.
Yes, we shall start.
Yes, please.
Yes. Hearty welcome to the National Webinar Series 4.0 on Disaster Resilient India 2030. Over the past 2 decades, many countries in Asia and the Pacific have strengthened their resilience against numerous natural calamities. The COVID pandemic has brought to the forefront yet again how risk interconnects and how these systematic risks, biological and hydrometeorological, will be affected by the changing climates. The COVID-19 pandemic has served as a wake-up call to start a reminder that humanity will always remain vulnerable to powerful natural forces. Disaster Resilient India 2030 has highlighted the importance of strong social protection that encompasses disaster preparedness. DMRT came into existence since 2005 to serve communities during emergencies. The organization supported communities during major disasters that devastated the nation in the recent past. The strength of DMRT is its promoters and the guiding gurus like Professor Vinod Chandra Menon-ji and Mr. Michael Vedasiromani-ji, who are the constant supporter to this webinar series and all other programs of DMRT. Welcome both the guiding gurus, Professor Vinod Chandra Menon-ji, founder member in DMA, Government of India, and Mr. Michael Vedasiromani, sir, IAS, formerly Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Kerala, who is also the current chairman in charge of DMR. Sir, we welcome with folded hands. We also welcome today's partners for the program. They are also the constant supporters. Department of Applied Geology from Madras University, Department of Disaster Management from Loyola College, Thiruvananthapuram, Auxilium College, Vellore, Youth Red Cross, unit of Sri Ayyappa College. They have been traveling with us since its inception, July 2020, on this webinar series. We also welcome all the other dignitaries who joined, my fellow colleagues, secretaries, Professor Suresh Mariaselvam sir, who is a very constant supporter of the program, Dr. Claribel Madam, Dr. Jyoti Krishna, Dr. A.R. Savida, Professor Priyadashni, Dr. R.R. Krishnamurthy, Professor and Head and Syndicate Member of University of Madras, and all other experts who connected in this program. We have initiated this webinar series 1 in July 2020. We have conducted 4 sessions. The total 700 participants who benefited out of this program. We have covered hazard profile of India. Ayyappa College, who collaborated with us throughout this program. Still they are with us. Webinar series 2, the topic covered was risk profile of India. We have conducted 6 sessions, 900 delegates who participated from India and abroad. Webinar series 3, this series focused sustainable development goal and Prime Minister's 10-point agenda on disaster management. Department of Applied Geology, University of Madras, who collaborated with us, and they are still with us, and they are constant supporter for the success of this program. This is the 3rd series we are conducting today. We extend our hearty welcome to the newly joined Department of Disaster Management from Loyola College at Thiruvananthapuram and Auxilium College from Vellore. Today's topic is role of social workers in COVID-19 and in the post-COVID world. We thank our NDMA founder, Professor Menanji, who is coordinating this program for the last 1 week. He is with me. He is a constant and regular, morning 8 o'clock to night 2 o'clock. He used to guide us, coordinate us. This program is successful only because of his able guidance. And I extend my hearty welcome to all the collaborators, the technical experts, especially today's panel of experts from varied professional expertise from India and abroad. Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gadnaik ji, Senior Technical Advisor, DRM, Emergency UNDP, Ministry in charge of Emergency Management, Government of Rwanda. Sir, we extend hearty welcome to you. The second expert in today's panel is Mr. Johnny, futurist, joint CEO, Nagaland SDMA from Government of Nagaland. Your multidisciplinary and global skill will add value to this platform. I also welcome all the experts, delegates, collaborators who joined in this program. Most welcome. Thank you. Once again, I welcome all of you. Thank you very much. Now I request our session chair, Professor N. Vinod Chandra Menon, founder member NDMA, Government of India, kindly inaugurate this program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh. I think we can start the proceedings of the program. May I request Mr. Professor Suresh Mariselvam to kindly introduce his resource persons. This is formally inaugurated. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone. We have reached the maximum.
It's being live streamed right now. The link, can you kindly put it on the chat? Thank you. Kindly share this YouTube link also on various social media platforms, which you have actually shared, so that people will be able to join. We have reached a maximum of 100 people. The others are trying to join on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you.
Our chairman, Michael Vedasramani sir, joined. We will ask that to. Sir, you can give your opening remarks. You can.
Capacity constraint. He is not able to rejoin. So let me just introduce, Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gadnaik and also Mr. Johnny Rugme from Nagaland, State Disaster Management Authority. We have great pleasure in having these two resource persons, both with wide experience in the field of disaster management. And both of them are also specialists in social work and their contributions will be very useful for all the faculty members and the students of social work, because Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gannayak has wide experience internationally in UNDP, UNICEF, and also he has looked at the disaster risk management programs and plans of many countries. He has also, apart from his postgraduate degree in social work, he's also, having a specialization from the Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok. And I'm sure that his experiences, including Rwanda, where he's currently posted in Kigali, it will be very useful for all of us because, conflicts, disasters and extreme events, climate change, and all actually creating a large number of problems all over the world. And right now we're going through the COVID experiences, and I'm sure that the contributions from both the resource persons will be extremely useful. And Mr. Johnny Rugme, from Joint Chief Executive Officer of the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority, is a person with a very rich experience in the field of disaster management. And he's also highly qualified in many fields which are actually pioneering leading edge issues. And that is one of the reasons why he's also having futurist as part of his name. Looking at many futuristic technologies and leading edge technologies, including blockchain and artificial intelligence and many other, IT-enabled solutions for disaster management. And I would also like to, mention that in a recent study from Stanford University, the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority was acclaimed to be the state platform which actually has the granularity in reporting COVID cases. And this is a very high honor for a state disaster management authority. Nagaland coming up as first out of 100 plus COVID platforms and state and union territories, and also social platforms in modeling. The Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority's website has actually ranked first for the detailing and the granularity of COVID data. I'm very happy to welcome both these distinguished resource persons, and I hope that all of us will benefit from the interactions which you will be able to have with them. Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Shiromani, sir, the chairman of DMRT, would you like to briefly, welcome the two resource persons? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good evening. It's such a great pleasure to meet again, and especially Professor Vinod Menon and all the participants. It's such a great pleasure. And I was also looking forward after a long gap for this meeting, especially the webinar 4. As Mr. Vinod, Professor Menon said about the resource persons, the experts, we are really lucky to have an international expert, Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan, and also the CEO, the joint CEO from Nagaland. I also extend a warm welcome to both of them as experts. We look forward for a lot because you're bringing both the field experience as well as your international experience. I also take this opportunity to welcome one and all, and especially all the institutions along with the DMRT office bearers, the Ayyappa College, the Auxilium College, the Loyola College, and also the University of Madras Geological Department. So let me extend a warm welcome to one and all. We look forward to hear from our experts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I hope Mr. Vibhuti Bhushan Gannayak is also the co-host of the event, so that he will be able to make the presentation. May I request him to initiate his intervention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, namaskar, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. Sir, shall I start with the presentation or?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Respected Professor V.K. Menon, respected Mr. Michael, respected Mr. Suresh Kumar, respected Dr. Sasmi Nayak from Niswas, my dear Jenny, my ex-colleague, we have worked together for quite a long time, distinguished participants and students. In fact, this is a great opportunity to start with. I would like to share my presentation. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
You can make it full screen, slideshow mode.
Yeah, I made it full screen, but okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Before I get into the topic, just I would like to share the experiences, how the things were in a very hue and cry situation in Rwanda. In fact, when this COVID-19 it now started appearing, I think on 10th of February, they declared all the offices are closed and working from home. And since then, situation become in a very, very disorganized manner. Everything was closed, all the lockdown, everything, nobody were allowed to go outside and work and get their livelihood. So it was creating a big hue and cry situation. Being working with UNDP, and I was on deputation to ministry in charge of emergency management. I was advisor to the ministry. I work as the advisor to the Minister of Emergency Management in Rwanda. So it became a Herculean task for all of us to meet the need of the people, those who have been really severely affected, in the sense those who are basically refugees and the people, those who were daily wages laborers. It was really becoming a very huge task to meet the need of the people. In fact, with the support of multi-agencies, international agencies, and with the support of the government, we could able to address some needs of the people, those who are affected, those who are there in the refugee camps, and also some those who are around in the area, in the major cities. So that was really, but it was just a kind of a small support to the people, those who were really looking for daily wages and food and other things. It was a very human crisis situation, specifically in Rwanda, what we experienced. And it was coupled with the volcanic eruption. We had a severe volcanic eruption. It also further increased the intensity of the problem. People were all from Goma, they started getting into they crossed the border without anything, and somehow with mutual agreement of the government, the border was opened, and people from Democratic Republic Congo, they moved to Rwanda. Around 25,000 people, they
and coronavirus infection. These are the two diseases of the disease which is called, or which has H2 has a lot of prevalent things. So the virus behind COVID-19 also used a protein receptor called H2 to enter a human respiratory cell. So it may be that some people then produce protein loss that are harder for COVID-19 to fix, or that regulatory genes are showing the production of H2. So depending on our DNA, some of us may have cells that are more open to infection, and so suffer more serious illness. Some others offer fewer viral targets and escape relatively unscathed. So this is a little bit an iceberg knowledge about COVID. If any one of you wanted to, especially the students, maybe perhaps you can contact me, we can share more about it. So this is an iceberg knowledge, iceberg tip of the COVID-19, inside the scientific information. So as social workers, we need to understand and give a proper information to the confusion of the unknown faced by the community where we serve. So the role of social workers, now I'd like to talk. Now the first part is the role of social workers in the COVID. So I would say our role is to give them the exact information about how we need to respond to the challenge of COVID-19. That is our role. Understanding the knowledge and sharing them rightly. Understanding the challenge and help them to respond rightly. That is our role in COVID. Our social workers' role for COVID-19, how it would be. If you really look at it in these days, with the COVID-19, there was big confusion where nations are engaging in the contest for supremacy. So social workers, men and women, should advocate in such a time for inclusiveness. Social workers advocate for no problem of tomorrow because of the short-sighted solution of today. Why I mean that? Suppose everybody is rushing about how do we respond to this COVID, but we never look at a long-term, the kind of programs to address this issue or the challenge of the COVID-19, not only in one sector. Today, if this kind of pandemic continues, we going to school, we used to be going to school and colleges, physically interacting with our teachers and our professors. That will be a thing of the past. It will be all on the virtual world, even as we interact today. If there was no pandemic, and I'm sure the organizers will have a big seminar being organized physically and talking about it. So that is the reason I say, instead of looking for short-sighted solutions, social workers, we need to look at the long term. How do we challenge how do we respond to the challenge so that there is no problem tomorrow? As we should, as social workers in these post-pandemic situations, which we are moving towards, we have to also manufacture a culture around us. Any colleges today, we need to manufacture a culture around us. And what type of culture is that? A culture which fosters the dictate of reason, not sacrificing that reason for our selfish gain. So we need to cultivate a culture where the dictate of reason is fostered. Number one, we need to bring about a culture for collective thinking rather than patronizing individual ideas. So in the context of COVID pandemic, there are so many other individual scientists who came about and, making things. Now, how do we bring in a collective thinking rather than patronizing an individual finding? We need to also build a culture of connect between physical science and I would also call it a spiritual world. If you really look at the data of the people who died because of the pandemic, many people died because of the overwhelming socio-psycho impact. The COVID-19 brought in about stigmatization. COVID-19 brought in about that you may not survive. COVID-19 brought about excommunicating yourself from the other members of your family and excluding yourself in one room, isolating, many things. Therefore, as social workers in this post-COVID, we need to build the culture of connect between physical science, as I was telling to you about little bit of DNA and genomic thing, that is the physical science, and spiritual world. we need to also bring in a culture of prudent learning that will become a source of rich innovation. A prudent learning and a culture of integrated, comprehensive learning, yet with philosophical bent of mind, yet full of spiritualism. Especially these many colleges, big colleges like my former colleges, the Loyola College, should continue to promote these. We need to bring in manufacturer culture to envision as well as to plan and implement strategies to lead the society with direction. I think our friend Vibhuti was sharing about how confusing it was during that period of time. Now we need to start looking at the roles of social workers with a leadership with direction. With that, we live in a very challenging time. Geopolitical turmoil. You know, in this context, I think as we talk of, pandemic, there was a geopolitical turmoil in parts of the world, especially in Middle East, local and national and social unrest, cycle of deadly natural disasters, cyber hacks, rising distrust of media and tech companies. Many recent disruptive events have taken us by a big surprise. Why so many of us, including we social workers, individually and collectively, how do we fail to imagine, let alone anticipate the massive and disruptive changes that are unfolding before us? Now, these are exponential change, and exponential change requires an exponential leader. What exactly does that mean? Let us try to explore 4 pillars of exponential leadership or exponential social workers so that we have inclusive, equitable, positive, abundant future we all want to lead in the post-pandemic. One of the first pillar of the social worker or an exponential leadership is to be a futurist. We need to learn how to transform surprises into mindful anticipation. This does not mean simply, extrapolating today's pace of change into the future. No, it means imagining new possibilities. Imagining new possibilities boldly. Like Christopher Columbus, when he began his journey, he does not have the roadmap where his ship or the boat is going to take, but he has a big, bold visionary. That's how the exploration took place. So optimistically and understanding the way they are quite likely to arrive sooner than later, that is the way that we need to look at it, anticipate. Leaders will have to get equally comfortable with what can be known and with exploring what is unknown. I have a colleague in the Singularity University in NASA Research Park in California. Her name is Lisa K. Solomon. She says, as futurists, leaders need to get comfortable asking open-ended questions about unspoken assumptions to see new possibilities. I think that is very appropriate. This is how we as social workers need to work on as futurists, so that we bring the society to the higher level. Now, another pillar that we need to look at it as social worker is we need to be an innovator. When we talk about innovation, it's a jargon, today we use every day, and I'm sure you must be hearing about innovation much and more. But we are looking at, in addition to imagining a range of new futures, leaders must also act as innovators, discovering new ideas, through creative ideation. Now, perhaps I think as part of the syllabus of our social work studies, we need to include a syllabus on creative ideation, so that we start imagining about new social dimensions. Because we never know. Today, the pandemic has really, shaken the very foundation of every organization. So these days, great product ideas can come from a single tweet or a surprising customer interaction, be tested with a working prototype in less than 20 minutes. Many possibilities. Now, due to paucity of time, let me move on to the third one. The third one is, as social workers, we need to be as technologists. As technology innovation accelerates, social workers have to understand which technology will directly impact the industry, the society, and which will affect the society and the other industries. So this is very important, that we need to be a technologist. If you want to be a good social worker, you need to be a technologist. Last, as a social worker, we need to be also a humanitarian. The exponential leaders use the skills and behavior of futurists, innovators, technologies to improve the life of the people that touch the society as a whole. And we need to become also a humanitarian, understanding looking at the possibilities, how you would be able to feel the pulse of the people with whom you are with. These roles as futurist innovation, these four pillars are very holistic systems of learning to imagine, create, capture. Now, the role of the social workers post-pandemic, this post-crisis landscape will see a sharp intensification of inequality debates, accelerating economic nationalism, and pressure on the institutions of macroeconomic policy making. We need to look at it, how is the pandemic changing the needs or changing my social needs? We should also understand, how can I provide new benefits to satisfy those changing needs, which is created by the COVID-19? How should I monetize both existing and the new benefits in new ways? These are few frameworks that we need to understand. I would like to end with a note that the future that we want to lead must be created. We cannot expect the future to come. We need to create the future we want to live. Therefore, when we talk about the post-COVID-19 scenario of any society, any industry, any place in the world, we need to create that future that we want to live, and we need to look at it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Srijani. It was a wonderful presentation, especially I'm very impressed with the 2 points. One is about the collectiveness of making information, not individually thinking. And number 2 is the 4 pillars you talked about, especially the innovation part. So social workers have to be innovative, very innovative. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful message you have given. I used to visit Nagaland quite often when I was looking after the Manipur projects. So my question to you is, there are a lot of tribal communities are there. So how you communicate to them about this pandemic as well as the vaccination programs?
Yeah, with regard to the vaccinations, the acceptance level from the community levels are very low. But what we do, we don't impose upon, but we give them ways. If those who wanted to take, they take. Even in the government level, we don't enforce upon those who have not taken. They need those who have not taken the vaccination. They need to bring in the negative test report. I think when it comes to the pandemic response, we try our level best to respond to the need of the people. I think I know as a human being, we will have a lot of lapses, but we tried our level best. We try to be the best version of ourselves. I think there was a question in the chat regarding the children's school shutdown. Let me also propagate here. I say, instead of learning A for apple in the high school, any kid today will know about A for apple and B for is boy. But I think from the start of the high school, we need to incorporate a chapter. I would like to advocate for this, that the national school, central education, I think NCERT, they should incorporate a study or a chapter about a virus, so that from our childhood, our next generation should know very well about how virus behave in human body, so that they would be able to take care. I think this is one that I would like to, ask all the members here to advocate for this, so that we need to learn about virus instead of learning A for apple, B for boy. Today, the education system, we need to totally reimagine and learn new things with the help of the technologies today. And today we have a CRISPR technologies which can really bring about. Today, why we have the vaccination so quickly, because there's so many technologies available, and especially the CRISPR technology has really enabled in the production of COVID vaccine. So there are many things with, we are looking at as different human species in the next 30 years. If we are to go to Mars to live, we may have to evolve ourselves. And that needs a total shift in the education system, especially from the high school onwards, even in the college, we need to think. I would say there is no box to think outside the box. It is open. The world is open for us to acquire what we want to, provided we need to do that scientific findings for the transformation of humanity and not to destroy humanity.
Professor Mariselvam, you're muted.
Before handing over the session back to organizers, I would like to request both the presenters, only one thing, just give three topics, just 3 topics, because we have social work departments participating. They are continuously calling us, asking for topics for research, especially in the period of COVID. One thing is, many people have lost their livelihood, and especially the informal sector. Number 2 is now Loyola College from disaster management, exclusively working on disaster management. So other way around it is, disaster management is now going to work with the social work department of getting the information from the field, doing a study and publishing papers. Even some departments are very particular about policy recommendations. So I would like to request Sri Vibhuti sir as well as Sri Johnny to just highlight 3 topics which you think is very essential for the social work students and the disaster management students and the faculty members jointly to come out with your ideas of topics for research studies. Because recently we had the study with UNICEF on, UNICEF has opened Voice of the Youth globally, and they are encouraging college students to voice their demands, climate change and the impact. So recently we had Loyola College, Chennai, and Stella Maris College, Chennai. Almost 600 students participated. And after the presentation on climate change, role of the youth, then teams went to the field, they collected a lot of information and presented. It was a big eye-opener. I never expected students are so enthusiastic. So now it's a time for us to guide them, to put on the track to show them some of important topics which you think are very important. So you can give a suggestion so that the faculty members can pick it up and discuss with the students and go for studies and present in that forum. Sri Vibhuti sir?
Yes, sir. I'll send you. Do you want me to suggest you the topics now, or you'll give me some time?
Orally share that, and then you can send it out so we can share it to this thing. And if whatever comes in the mind, immediately the pressing demands which you think it has to be done a research study or something.
Specifically, when you talk about the disaster management and all, youth has got a very important role. And specifically, Youth Connect is one of the important program which is coming up very well. It is very well globally. So how we can link youth with disaster management, that can be one of the area where we can think of having some topics, formulated some topics. Similar way, SOC responsive social protection is another important area, which is ultimately also emphasizing on strengthening your preparedness at all levels, community level. So that may be one of the area can be intervened, as well as regarding this resilient infrastructure may be one of the important area where we can think of how the policies plan can be integrated or how it can be mainstream. So these are some of the areas which is at the international level is going well, and it has got a better scope, as some funding scope is also there. So they can think of when it's doing, and in case they need also some guidance, I am there. So I will not be available physically, but I can guide them through internet and
DMRT,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. DMRT team is very, very happy for your support and your encouragement. You can keep writing to our Secretary Suresh Kumar sir, the mail, so that we can share with all the departments. Now we have 6 colleges have joined. Even Central University Thiruvananthapuram has joined. And actually they are looking for, yesterday only they called me, they are looking for a study to organize a study of the livelihood loss of the fishermen women. Women in the fishermen community, especially the worst affected areas of tsunami, especially Nagercoil, Kadalur and Kanniyakumari, they are planning. So the students may be involved in that. So this is a very good idea, especially you said the youngsters must understand about disaster management and working with the policy matters. That would be very useful for them. See, because of them are opting to go for the UPSC exams, our chairman will talk about it as a topic. Can I request Jani sir, your ideas, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I would suggest one, we're talking about the livelihood. When we talk about livelihood today, the livelihood which we were doing may have to really look at it in a different way. I would suggest when you are a restaurant owner and you used to have a lot of customers coming into your restaurant and eating, dining. But with this situation, your customers coming is going to be very, very challenging. Therefore, we need to bring about new methods, new livelihood style in order to continue, bringing that livelihood, continue that livelihood from a different perspective, from a different method. Therefore, when we look at the livelihood study, so the livelihood of the past and how do we align to the new challenges? I think that area could be one of the research topics. Secondly,
excuse me, you are saying alternative livelihood or the same livelihood? How do you, what exactly are you looking for?
It's the same livelihood, but we need to look at, say, today people are not coming to my restaurant. I need to find a safer way to deliver that food package to his house.
Okay.
But I'm still running the restaurant. So that is a new way. Yeah. And second way of looking at for the research, especially in the context of COVID-19, is how many people have actually had comorbidity, and how many people are young, strong, healthy, passed away by COVID. I think these two comparisons, especially if it can come up for at least for South India part, is going to help the policymakers, the scientific research community very, very well, very helpful, because we actually do not know, and many studies has been done. For those of you who are interested in this thing, there is a company called 23andMe. It's
Okay.
a name. That's 23.
Okay.
So they collect this kind of data quite a lot and you can even, if you have this kind of data, this kind of companies will certainly be able to pick you and then help you. Third area that I would like to look at it, encourage you to continue the research is, now data is very, very, very
Right.
important. So when we talk about social work or when we talk about disaster management, the data is very important. Therefore, we need to assess the loss, damage data, and we need to compare that. We have a very good way of predicting. We have a very good way of understanding any disasters or social issues. So these are the three areas.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. You note down everything. We'll share with you. You can keep writing us. Your support and encouragement is highly appreciated. Vibhuti sir, there is a question from Jyoti ma'am, Dr. Jyoti. Jyoti ma'am, you can raise your questions. You can switch on your camera and mic, and you can ask question directly, please.
Good evening, sir. My question is, as a from social work background as well as expertise in disaster management, having worked in Rwanda during the crisis time, during the pandemic times, would you see any points of similarity or dissimilarity in the way the social work fraternity has responded during the pandemic situation? You know, knowing the Indian situation and the Rwandan situation, are there any similarities or dissimilarities? Could you reflect on that?
There are less similarity, more differences, because there is a maybe due to our population, and there is a big gap of population in both the country. Rwanda is altogether having 12 million. We are having 1.3 billion population, maybe. And second is resources. There is a resource constraint is also there, but the culture and other things, because Rwanda is still underdeveloped and India is a developing country. So that way there are a lot of differences as regard to resources and the intervention of social work professionals. But there are also some similarity as regard to the cultural practices. Many of the things our cultures are very well matches with them, like fooding style and kind of it's not the kind of a spicy hot food they eat, but there is some similarity which is really matching well with them. At the same time, the culture and the practice is somewhat matching with them. I think in Africa, I have the only country which I have seen where you have a temple. No other country I could able to see. In Nairobi, I learned there is a temple, but in no other country there is a temple in the country. So that way there are a lot of similarities with regard to culture, practices, eating pattern, and with regard to administration and abiding by the law and obeying. Because what I saw during COVID-19 period, the way we were in a different state, managing the people and putting them in their house. But I found there is a big difference. People are very to the point. You are not allowed to go out of the house, means you will have to be in your compound. That's all. One day I just went out for a morning walk. Fortunately, I was saved because I was a foreigner and I was holding a UN card. So that's why I was given the permission to go back to my house. That's all. Otherwise, the rules were very strict and they were very much adhering to the laws. So that's the difference. Though we are abiding, we are also very law-abiding people, but there is a little difference due to population and their resources available over there. So that's what the kind of a differences. There are a lot of similarities with regard to culture, practice, and other things.
Thank you.
And good thing I would like to acknowledge the joint venture of Geography Department and this Social Work Department. It's really amazing the way they, because three things they were addressing together. We lost more than 316 people in landslide and flood. By the time COVID was on, we lost more than 15 people in the volcanic eruption, 20,000 people evacuated. So see, these are such a crisis situation, and the joint intervention of the two departments were really quite amazing. It was unless until somebody is in the situation, it is really difficult to analyze how they were cooperating. Since I was representing UN while we were doing the post-disaster need assessment, I could able to observe how they were supplementing and complementing each other in every effort. Specifically when we are going to identify the earth-prone areas, then volcanic eruptions areas, and rehabilitation. It was really going side by side. We no need to identify. You didn't see the community participation, neither the social work department. You say you didn't see the crack in the respective villages. It was a very nice coordination in both the sides. That was one of the amazing experience I had in this country.
That's an excellent model. That's an excellent model, Sri Vibhuti sir. As social work department and geography department, especially using a satellite mapping for the vulnerable areas, vulnerable communities, vulnerable situation and everything, and predicting everything, so that it will be easy for the policymakers to evacuate the people, communicate, personal connectivity, communication, everything could be possible. That's a very good model you have suggested, which we are also promoting, that social work should work with the geography department and the geopolitical department, where the digital mapping could be very useful for the social workers to plan their activities. So thank you very much. Dr. Jyoti, is fine with you? It's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. My last question to Vibhuti sir is regarding this African situation. There is a lot of civil wars are known for non-African countries. How come the civil wars having an impact on this COVID situation, Vibhuti sir?
Yeah, in fact, in Rwanda, as compared to civil war, Rwanda was quite peaceful. But in 1999, there was a big genocide that you might heard about the news and everything. But after that, you'll find such a beautiful country. This is called the Kigali is called the Singapore of Africa. You walk on the road, you will not find a single drop of sand on the highway. On the main road, everywhere is well maintained. No space you will find empty. It is filled with the plants and all the flowers. It is very beautiful everywhere. You will not feel happy. I am in an African country. It is so well maintained. It's only because of these things. You go to the next country, the Democratic Republic Congo, just cross the border. You just go 10 meters beyond the border. You will see the real Africa.
Okay.
The country is filled with natural resources, but due to conflict, so many things are going on. They have a lot of, as compared to Rwanda, they have plenty of natural resources. Due to the governance issues and conflict within the country, things are not organized. The road condition is terrible. Even many officials working in the border part of DRC, they are living in Rwanda. So that way, that is the conflict is playing a vital role. But many of the countries, they are coming out. Like I was working in Gambia. I was working in Caribbean. I have worked in Germany. So I compared both all other the areas. I found Rwanda comparatively is in better shape with regard to the conflict and resources. They are quite strategic and to the point, which is really helping them in a great help. And furthermore, they joined in Commonwealth. That is also supporting them, because previously they were a French country. Now recently they have joined in the Commonwealth. So that is also supporting them. Yeah. So that is also help them to come out of the kind of a conflict that they were experiencing in the past.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are honored and privileged to have both of you. And thank you very much for your time and the knowledge you have shared with our students and the faculty members and the participants. Looking forward to get more resources and support and encouragement from both of you. Thank you, Vibhuti sir. Thank you, Johnny sir. Thank you very much. Back to Professor Menon. So please take over. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, very thought-provoking presentations from Mr. Vibhuti Ganaik and also from Mr. Johnny Rungmai. This, I think, both the presentations have actually created a lot of restlessness among the people. We have 495 people registered for this session. We have a technical problem of 100 people's capacity in Zoom. And so we had a problem of overflow, and then we could not really switch to the YouTube and the Facebook fast enough. So I think this needs to be corrected. So I hope that our partners who are actually working together would try and see that we increase the capacity of Zoom presence, to maybe 500 or even 1,000, so that large numbers of people can participate. So we will discuss that again, internally, and come to a solution. I also wanted to suggest, because Mr. Vibhuti is there with large experience, with a very rich experience in the Northeast and also in many countries abroad, they need to have a social work network of institutions which are there, national network of social work institutions in the country. If, we actually start looking at bringing in professionals together, social workers, faculty members, alumni, students, and also past students who are alumni who are working in the corporate sector or in the UN and international NGOs, national NGOs. I think that will be a major contribution which we will be able to do, because many people were actually seeing the lack of opportunity for interaction due to closure of educational institutions. They were at home and they did not know how to take things forward. So Dr. Jyoti Krishnan was discussing about giving assignments where students could actually also benefit. They could find out who are the vulnerable people in their neighborhood, who need support. There are people who could not attend classes in schools, online classes, because they did not have access to laptops or smartphones. So they need to really look at helping the vulnerable sections, and also people who could not afford hospital fees. Poor people who were either migrant workers, interstate migrant workers who had lost their livelihood and who did not have enough earning capacity because of the lockdowns, how they would actually be able to survive and enable their children to study online. This is the big challenge. And then there were many other issues. So social workers, students, how they could actually participate. This we felt the need for a platform where institutions which are teaching BSW and MSW students could come together on a national network and then collaborate across the country and help each other, because we have Loyola College, we have a Madras Christian College, we have Bosco College, and social work department in Loyola, Chennai,
Stella Maris College also.
Stella Maris, Chennai, and in many institutions. In fact, we have now several colleges, including Auxilium College in Vellore and Ayyappa College in Tamil Nadu, and we have many institutions which have come together. And Madras University is there. We have many universities. In fact, even in the same city, we have a large number of institutions. Professor Suresh Mariselvam, in Chennai, there should be more than 7 or 9 universities.
Yeah. And the statewide still more. Bharatiya University is waiting.
Correct.
We have universities.
Correct. So we need to really look at maybe bringing in institutions further, so that there could be exchange of ideas and faculty exchanges, interactions, student interactions, so that the students also would understand what are the opportunities. I thought that this is something which we would like to propose, and if institutions come forward, we can take it to scale. We can actually take it to other institutions. Delhi School of Social Work is there, and many other institutions. So I would request Father Sabu and also Dr. Jyoti Krishnan from Loyola to also give their responses to this suggestion, and Mr. Vibhuti, whether from Bhubaneswar, from Orissa, other institutions can come forward. Similarly, Nagaland and the Northeast institutions teaching social work could come together. These are some of the thoughts. Any suggestions from anybody? Any reactions? Mr. Michael Wells, sir, would you also respond?
to the Northeast, we only have the professional social workers and teaching social works are.
Sorry, we are not able to hear you properly.
We can. Sir, I was saying, I think maybe because of my network. Start later, sir.
No, it's okay. Please go ahead.
Sir, I think because of my mic.
No, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. I was saying we had the Professional Social Workers Association. Even during the pandemic, so we had conferences. I think 1 or 2 times last year and this year. So we are very much in touch with each other here in the region, in the Northeast.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. There is an excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
There is a national level social work professional social workers association is there, and also there is a state level professional social workers association is there. In Odisha, we have a national OPSA. It's called Odisha Professional Social Workers Association. I'll discuss with them. Let us see how we can integrate everybody together, and we can bring everybody to one platform. Because in social work subject, exchange of faculty and exchange of students plays a vital role to acquire and adopt the new knowledge what we are getting. Because all we were taught in social work, it's all very very old syllabus. So that way, I think that would be what you have rightly suggested, that bringing everybody together and exchange of students and faculty would rather be a good idea, sir. I will try from Odisha. I will try to connect till the time I'm here. I'll try to connect with you so that we can find a way how we can connect.
Yeah,
Thank
yes.
you,
Sir, actually, I was with UNDP for 2 years. UNDP also in Bhubaneswar. I think it was 2004 to 6. I was in 2003. I was in Bhubaneswar. That time I used to visit the colleges, including Uttal University, where we promoted disaster management as a subject and research study, or else if they are happy study, making disaster management as a cross-cutting issue. So how disaster management is affecting there, for example, if they are talking about mental health, or talking about children, women, livelihood, anything. So how, especially based on the experience of Odisha super cyclone. So we had a connection with YSTMB. So we guided the students, but unfortunately, after 2006-07, when the new students started coming, we could not sustain that. So by the time I came back to Chennai for the tsunami rehabilitation program, so after that we could not sustain that. So that network, what you're talking about, social work, is a very good network. Even I have spoken to them, but we have to look into the sustainability part of it. That's the only way. So when we introduce, there should be a continuous training with the faculties about that, and then academic staff colleges should take it as part of their training programs and sustain it. So that is where we are lagging behind.
Sir, what we have done in NISWAS over here, we have linked them to the international university like Gajamada University, then AIT, then Hawaii University. So around 10 university, among them NISWAS is also one. So they are doing a disaster management course of two credit, I think. That was initiated. I supported them to start this course. So it is continuing. I think we can think of similar kind of things so that we can have, all universities can have it together so that the ideas, knowledge can be exchanged. That will be a good approach, I think. Sure. And in NISWAS, it is continuing.
Right. Actually, there is a difference between professional social workers associations and also network of educational institutions which are imparting social work education. So the faculty members and students to benefit from this kind of a platform would be very useful. So, I think that similar platforms are also necessary for students and faculty members teaching psychology and psychiatry, and also medicine, architecture, engineering, we really need in the areas of disaster management, multidisciplinary specializations, and institutional platforms can come together. I think that would be a very enriching experience for the faculty members and the students.
Request to Professor Menon as well as to the resource persons also. During tsunami time, we had UNTRS, like we had a collaboration with WHO, we had collaboration with ILO, WFP also, and then we had with UNITO, UNISDR. So we'll invite experts from ILO, from WFP also, or from WHO also. Now Ruben Samuel is there. So we can talk to them so that the cross-cutting issues of disaster management also could be taken to the next level, and more research areas could also be planned and promoted. So I leave to Professor Menon, to our chairman, and to the resource persons to consider that and in touch with the experts from other areas also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Right. Am I? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Michael Wilstrom, sir, please.
Yeah. And I fully, join with them because as a former director of RGNIVD, association with the Madras Institute of Social Work, they have got a very strong, I think, what you call networking and all. I think I found it during those 3 years of stay, the MSW syllabus is much more people oriented, and people who do the MSW have got more hands-on experience. So that way, I think they're the most well-equipped among the other students in terms of sensitization of the community, etc. Now, having already existing a network, I think like what we have just discussed, Mr. Bibhuti said and all, I think we should network it, especially with MSW as a good role model, and maybe like other professional courses also, because disaster itself is a multidisciplinary one. I think we should take some initiative and try to link it here and there. I think we should be able to do it. Just want to comment. Thank you.
I now request Dr. Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Jyoti to extend a word of thanks. Dr. Jyoti Krishnan.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Respected speakers of the day, session chairs, collaborating institutions, and all participants at this webinar. It is my honor to extend the vote of thanks for this program. It's been a very enriching session, hearing multiple perspectives from different parts of the world. And I would like to first thank the distinguished speakers of the day, Shri Vibhuti Bhushan and Shri Johnny Ashin, for your very enriching inputs on the whole, on the intersection between social work and disaster management. It's been a wonderful session. I particularly thank Shri Vibhuti Bhushan for highlighting that social work ethics are very much grounded in human rights, particularly during times of disasters. I think that is a key takeaway for us, which all of us need to reflect upon, that it's grounded in human rights, not just during normal times, but particularly so during disaster times, particularly during pandemic times. I also thank Mr. Johnny Rungmai for throwing the canvas wide open, for linking physical sciences with natural sciences, with social sciences, with spirituality, for telling us that how you emerge out of this crisis is how we will shape our future. I thank both speakers for taking the time and for sharing their insights with us. I also thank the session chairs, Professor Vinod Menon and Shri Michael Wilstrom, IAS, both very distinguished people whom I have high regard. Professor Menon, your suggestion about building networks and collaborations between social work fraternity is extremely important, and also collaborations between social work institutions. And so the students get to interact with even today here we find students from different parts of the country, at least significantly from Kerala and Tamil Nadu coming onto the same platform. And I think that is very important for us to build such meaningful collaborations where we get students onto the field through such collaborations. So that's an extremely important point, and I think we should work on it collectively. Thank you also to Michael Vedshiromni sir, who's very well known in Kerala, and I thank you for your your gracious blessing of this session. I thank all collaborating institutions, particularly DMRT for taking the key role. Mr. Suresh Mariaselvam and the entire DMRT team who worked a lot, also Mr. Suresh Kumar and many others who worked towards bringing this whole program together. I thank all collaborating institutions, the Department of Geology from University of Madras, the Ayyappa College at Nagercoil, Auxilium College, Vellore, and we're very happy to join this fraternity. And finally, I thank all students and all the younger participants in today's webinar for making this session a very enriching one. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you from as
Thank you very much.
organizing committee. We thank both experts. You really given a very important key solutions existing across the country as well as in the world. The problems are same. We have to find the solution. Together we find new and newer solution to make country more resilient across the world. Thank you. Now I am very proud to mention about the recent appreciation and honor received by our founder member, Professor Vinod Menon ji from the International Emergency Management Society for proven academic and practical qualification International Emergency and Disaster Management Award presented to Professor Vinod Chandra Menon, India. So we feel it proud, and you are navigating us, aiding us that we should learn and relearn, and we have to find new solutions. So this is the way of finding solutions. So learning and everyday learning is more important. Thank you very much. We are very proud of you, sir. We have put it in the chat box too, with your permission. We feel elated and honored. Thank you very much, sir. So once again, we thank the collaborators. And there were some technical issues. We were unable to accommodate guests. There was a problem in the YouTube that will be sorted out in the next session. Our chairman is back. We are very happy that with the regeneration, sir has joined after undergoing minor hospitalization. Now you live as you were. Thank you, sir. Most welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, shall we
Thank you,
close?
sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So there will be a national webinar series, Disaster Resilient India 2030, the session 3 on role of social workers in COVID-19 and the post-COVID world. It was organized by Disaster Management and Rehabilitation Trust of Nagercoil, Kanniyakumari district, Ayyappa College for Women, and Auxilium College, Vellore, and Loyola College, Thiruvananthapuram, and University of Madras. So we sign out for the next session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.